our soul is under fire. When the world's being torn apart, heed to the star of eternal desire. And mend all the broken heart. Feel as one who's young, alone, and always stays strong. In the hands of a broken one, passionate, crying mind. Will get the change light, reverse to a different time. We'll make it through and never do it alone. There's always someone who will make it through. We know it'll be alone. So keep to the rest of my cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Never giving up the long stretch of fire. Cause everything is gonna be alright. Knowing someone there pulling you tight, I say yeah. Like these strings of a rest, failing the contest, turns to eternal rest, internal debate, to relate to serenity state, battle to manipulate, trapped in each cause is caused by wandering lost. One quick way to end it all, finding my way back, attack the path that stains black, and dear to light the track. And never do it alone. There's always someone who will make it through. We know it'll be alone. So heed to the rest of me, cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Never giving up the long stretch of fire. Cause everything is gonna be alright. Knowing someone there holding you tight, I say yeah. Fighting, depression inside feasting, extremists just lie awaiting, but we'll make it through and never do it alone. There's always someone who will make it through. We know it'll be alone. So heed to the rest of my cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Never giving up the long stretch of fire. Cause everything is gonna be alright. Knowing someone there pulling you tight.
Welcome to Network Roundtable. Good bacon, or I mean good morning to you. This week our superhero is Adam Avitable, and our +1 sidekick this week is also Adam Avitable. And we are going to be talking about respectfulness.
I remember visiting my grandfather's farm in Alberta, Canada. All around the farm they had hand pumps installed to provide water to the sheep, clean, and any number of other tasks this city slicker did not understand. I still remember the first time I tried to get water from that hand pump. I took a few pumps on the handle and nothing happened. My grandfather came over and patiently showed me how it would take a bit more work to prime the pump. As a small boy, that was a lot of work. Once the pipe was full and the pump was primed, it became easy to keep the water flowing. I stopped pumping and went to get my dad to show him what I had learned. When we got back to the pump, the pipe was cleared and I had to prime it all over again. Team Troopers hopes that the things you learn today will prime your pump. It's up to you to keep the inspiration flowing.
All right, welcome to Network Roundtable. We are doing something a little bit different this week. we are opening this up to our audience. So if you have not recently been on one of our HOAs and you would like to join in the conversation front of camera, we will send you a private invitation and you can join in. We actually have somebody who has taken us up on the offer. Danielle is here joining us, so that's exciting. And Kristin is in the house. So we are going to be talking this week about respectfulness. Now, normally we open our show with a activity that we call Super Sidekick Admiration and Sidekick Super Admiration. Not quite sure how that's going to work out this week. The idea for those of you who are new to the show is that our superhero and our sidekick tell us about each other. Since our superhero and our sidekick is the same person, Adam, do you want to tell us why Adam Avitable is so amazing and why we have him on the show?
Wow, we're diving right into that. Well, you know, he's kind of a unique character. He thinks he's unique, even though sometimes he needs to be taken down a couple pegs. He's a pretty smart guy and pretty open. He's one of the most honest and transparent people that I know.
That's awesome, Adam. Thank you so much for telling us about Adam. Now, Adam, can you tell us about Adam?
Yeah, that's see, you know, the alter ego. You know, the alter ego is kind of narcissistic, a little selfish, and really just wants the spotlight. So, you know, he's not necessarily the best person in the world.
All right.
That worked out better than I actually thought I was going to. The two the two sides.
Yeah, no, that actually worked out all right. Yeah, we're gonna have fun today. That's for sure. So there's a whole lot of conversation about, bacon.
Yeah,
today.
I know.
And Adam, you're the one I think that started that with your lower third bacon lover, lower third. But
yes, I think so.
We must respect the bacon. There you go. Tied it into the theme of the day. All right. So let's jump into this. Hopefully Kristin will come front of camera pretty soon here and help us as we go through this. But we're going to go through talking about respect and respectfulness in past, present, future, and business. It's just going to be an open roundtable conversation. Again, if you want to be in the conversation live on this side of the cameras, let us know. I will send you a private message with the link. So let's start off asking Adam, when do you first consciously remember in your life understanding the concept of respect?
Consciously understanding. Well, probably with my parents, I would say, although I also went to a small private Christian school where we got paddled if we misbehaved, and respect and respectfulness was taught regularly. It was instilled in us. But I think the best example is probably both my parents and my grandparents. They both showed a lot of respect for each other, mutual, which is, I think, the most important part of it.
Cool. So tell me where... tell me your thoughts on, respect as you've seen it historically. Where is the world that you have experienced?
Well, let's see. I would say, first of all, I think that there's different types of people when it comes to respect. There's the people who automatically just not even intentionally command respect, just by their demeanor, their confidence, their ability. They are able to instill a sense of respect in people, and you see that. When I went to law school, I have a law degree, and we had professors that were like that. You just automatically respected them because of just the sheer intelligence and gravitas they brought to the table. And then I think when you see that, you want to be that person. At least I did. I wanted to aspire to be somebody that others respect. I wanted to have a knowledge base and have the experience people look at and say, I respect him for his choices, for his words, for his actions, whatever.
Danielle.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me this morning, by the way.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for joining us in the last minute. That's really cool. So what's been your experience with the word respect historically? What have you seen?
I think, like Adam, I was raised where it was very important to be respectful of adults and to show them that that they were. It was more of as an authoritative thing for me, that you were respectful of your elders. But I find now that being on the other side of that, now that I'm an elder myself, one of my core, and that's what really drew me to coming on today, because of core values, and one of my core values is respect, and I think that is such an undervalued thing in today's digital age. We don't really think about respecting the people around us and what that looks like and how we can show that to other people. I think that having respect for yourself and then being able to manifest that out toward the people that are in your orbits is so crucial to really being able to show up as who you are anymore.
Okay. I think we need to cover something here. I think we need to get if we can, possibly, get a consensus from our panel, and audience, love to have you guys jump in on this as well, but get a consensus on a definition of respect, because I think it's going to be necessary as we move through what we're going with. So, Adam, how would you define respect?
Yeah, interesting. I think it actually goes back a little bit. If I was going to define it, I would say it reminds me of a poster I had on my wall in college, actually. And it was a George Bernard Shaw quote that said, "Morality is not respectability." And that's maybe one way to define it, is that it's not just pure morality. It's not necessarily, living a moral life or something like that. It is, I would say, it is taking action. Respect. Well, respectfulness, I guess, is something that's a little different than respect, but it's respect. Giving someone respect is the same as giving someone maybe a consideration, maybe seeing them as someone to which you aspire. That's maybe one way I look at it. It's hard. It's harder than I thought.
Yeah, for me, the reason that I brought this up is I'm sitting here I'm a pretty informal person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up that way.
Yeah, same here.
But I still think of myself as respectful. And so I'm trying to figure out in my mind where that line is, because I think there's a lot of people that look at respect as, respecting our elders and those kinds of things as putting yourself underneath somebody else. And, Danielle, you talked about now that I'm an elder. Well, for me, I get uncomfortable when people call me Mr. Deuce. I'm just Dennis.
Right.
And I don't necessarily want people to feel less than me just because they're respecting me. And so that line becomes a difficult one, and I'm challenged trying to figure that out. That's where I'm trying to define that line. Danielle, what are your thoughts on this?
I think for me, respect it's a two-way street of empathy, validation, and an attempt to understand, somebody else's perspective. It's not about an age thing or really anything like that. That's just sort of how I grew up with it, the model that I was exposed to. But I see it really as the reciprocal two-way communication between people, that you understand and can appreciate a different perspective, different viewpoint, and be empathetic to the fact that somebody thinks differently from you.
I don't always think it's a two-way street, because I think that's why there's the term mutual respect, is when it is a two-way street. I do think respect sometimes, because you can respect things like traditions, which obviously there's not a two-way thing. You can have respect for somebody who doesn't even know who you are as well. So I think that it ideally, in a purely, like when we talk about the professional part of the business part of it, should maybe have some mutual, but I think as a pure definition, it can be an entirely singular effort.
Yeah, totally. I know my camera's not on yet, but that's precisely my thought. And when we got off the show on Monday, I said to Dennis, I was like, this is exactly like why I thought he would be perfect, because he has respect for himself.
Too much, probably. But,
it's like integrity. You have to have like self-integrity.
Yes. Yeah, you have to be able to respect your own actions in order to stand for them. If you have self-respect, then I think that helps you as a person grow. I don't respect traditions. I think traditions are stupid. I think if you do something just because it's always been done that way, you should probably look at that and say, well, why are we still doing that? If it gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling, you like to do it, great. But so I hate Christmas traditions. I hate Thanksgiving. I hate doing all of those things. I purposely avoid them. But when I do weddings, when I'm an ordained minister and I do weddings, I do respect the tradition of the wedding for the sake of the bride and groom, because I know it's important to them, and I try to make it my own twist, but I still try to show that respectfulness for the tradition.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, like, when you were talking, I was just like, yeah, totally right on, because I was, like, so against, ever telling our kids, about certain fictional heroes that come around seasonally, trying to be a little bit obscure about that, just in case. You never know who's watching, but yeah, like, that just drives me nuts. Just the lies, and yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think that's a totally different story too. About it, do you lie to your children about that or not? And I think that.
I don't think that people respect their kids when they do that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to weigh in here.
Yeah,
have to weigh in. I think it's fun as heck, and I think it allows childhood to be childhood. And I still believe in Santa Claus on some level. I don't think telling my kids that Santa exists is a lie, because I love the whole concept. Though at the same time, Adam, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of the
mindless
overall traditions and stuff. But man, Santa Claus is fun.
It fosters imagination too. And I believe Santa more than I believe in Jesus. But anyways, I'm not going to get that with you, Kristin.
He says, as an ordained minister.
I know, isn't that right? Yeah. And I have to mark that I'm a religious minister on the forums when I do the marriage ceremonies too. I have my own religious beliefs. Let's say that. I'll just put it that way.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Do you believe in Kermit? I noticed him behind you. Is that
is? Yes, of course. Yes, I have Kermit and Gonzo. I believe in Gonzo. Gonzo.
Oh, definitely.
Gonzo. Okay, there you go. The great Gonzo.
That's right.
Well, and Kermit has that cool rainbow song.
That's right. Yeah. It's not easy being green.
Oh, you're good at that.
Yeah. Kermit's the easiest impersonation.
I want to throw up a couple of comments. The audience is going crazy. I'm going to start off with Cheryl. I love this definition. I would define respect as allowing people to be who they are without judgment.
Yeah.
That is dead on.
Yeah. Good girl.
I think we ought to talk about this one. Being respectful and having respect for are a bit different, and I throw that back out to the audience. Love to hear your thoughts on that, especially you, Roland. But thank you for that comment. This is exactly how I feel, Dave. Someone says Mr. Pipe, or in my case, Mr. Deuce, and I look over my shoulder for my father, which gets really weird because my father passed away. So, yeah, then I just look crazy. So
my ancestors are all around us. You know that.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
The respectful and have respect for is actually a good distinction, because I would say I am not generally a respectful person, like in a general sense. In fact, I tend to kind of thumb my nose sometimes at that, and I purposely try to be controversial, which would be, I would say, the opposite of being respectful. But I do have respect for people. I have respect for people who have earned my respect.
Now, would you say that, because everyone is so different with this, I just think it's fascinating to find out. And I solely ask this, like, without, you know, I'm reserving judgment, of course, like, I'm no one to judge anything. So I'm just curious. Like, do you wait for someone to earn your respect before you respect them, or do they have it until they lose it?
I generally give people the benefit of the doubt. I generally consider people to be good people who sometimes make bad mistakes. So I generally have respect first.
Go ahead, sorry.
So I generally have respect for them first, and then if they lose it. But I have also had people where I just immediately had a bad impression of them, and they've earned it afterwards.
Huh. So kind of going with your intuition, which is another way of respecting yourself.
Yeah, that's true. You have to listen to yourself and respect that. You know, sometimes, you know, your own body and mind will tell you the best ways to act sometimes. But
Danielle, we haven't heard from you for a minute.
I know, I'm like staring at her, but you can't.
Stop staring at me. Stop staring at me. You know, I think, you know, I love the way Cheryl expressed it too. I think it's recognizing the innate value. I mean, if you're talking about respect for people, you know, there again, you're sort of separating this out into different areas of respect, if you will. But I think recognizing the innate value of every person that you meet, and that they don't necessarily deserve respect, but they are worthy of respect, and until they do something that violates your particular set of values, I think that's where the respect factor, they lose it, is because they have crossed some boundary for you and what your personal core values are.
Yep.
But they are certainly worthy of, everybody is worthy of respect.
I agree. Every person you meet is definitely, you know, they should have your respect, just from a mutual respect of being human beings. You know, that right there. And I think there's obviously different levels of respect. Respect can you know, elevate to, you know, to being someone that, you know, like I said, that you just put above other people, that you respect them because they set themselves apart from humanity. But we should always respect everybody.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think, like you said too, Kristin, there's an element of your intuition in there too. I mean, your inner GPS system, you know, where you give somebody the benefit of the doubt, but maybe that inner core is saying, your radar is going off about something, or maybe because you've heard about something about them or something. So, you know, I think you have to sort of find your own equilibrium around that. You know.
That is interesting.
Especially
in case you like heard something about them, and Dennis, I think you'll get this. Ever since you like brought up the word dialectic to me, I have just been going crazy on it. I've actually written a blog post, and I'm not quite done with it, but I've got my graphic and everything. Like I've dove in. That's not a right word. I'm not having respect for the English language. I have dived deep into that whole like informal thinking and operation. Oh, it's so amazing.
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of room for that here.
Dialectics are amazing. And for the audience and anyone who doesn't know what a dialectic is when two things appear to be opposite, or multiple things. It can be more than two. But two things appear to be opposite and yet are both true. And understanding when something is a dialectic frees you a lot in how you're going to react
You don't tend to react, right?
Correct. It minimizes the reaction because you can look at it and be okay with. I'm trying to think of an example of a dialectic.
It sounds almost like, okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know.
A dialectic. My dad was very distant in his latter years, and yet he was still a good person. So he didn't necessarily treat me well, but he treated a lot of people well. The people who spoke at his funeral, he had not changed from the guy I had known when I was younger to a lot of people around him. So he could be both a good person and not really treating me that well.
That just, I mean, that sounds like, honestly, like what you learn in law school, the way to think. I mean, you think about both sides being right and how to argue each side. And you have to be able to, when you have to, learn to play the devil's advocate, is you're actually saying each side is correct, and here's my argument for this one, here's my argument for that one. And so I think that's pretty much what law is.
Ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding.
exactly. And, in the example of my father, I didn't know what dialectics were when he was alive. But if I had, I wouldn't have felt so much resentment towards him. Okay? There's no need to. And maybe even I could have changed that relationship by changing how I looked at him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Kristin, it's amazing. We talked, what was it? We talked for about an hour and a half about dialectics, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a good way to, I mean, it's a good way to think. I've always, I mean, since maybe before law school, I didn't think this way, but I've always thought that, I always look at someone else's perspective and think, well, I can see why they can see that. I can see why that's a truth to them, and that helps a lot in just having discussions with people. I just realized I'm one of those douchebags who said I was in law school like 6 times already, so I'm not going to mention that once more because it wasn't the purpose. It has context, but not
Did
anymore.
you take the bar?
I refused. I didn't. I actually decided I had no interest in actually practicing because all lawyers are pretty miserable people. So.
See, then you're still cool.
Okay.
Ben's not watching right now. Then you're still cool.
All right. Oh, we got here really quick. Did I get a good enough example there, Roland? If not, we'll come up with another one. Just let me know. I'm not sure what this is about, Michael. Eubonics? Are you thinking I made up the word dialectic?
Duralectic.
And then there's
Duralectic.
there's Dianetics, which is the Scientology structure, right? Isn't that Dianetics? It's not the study of it? So.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I had no clue. I can't thumbs up you on that one.
I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mixed up.
So how do you spell it? I need to write this down because I didn't know the word.
Dialectics?
No.
Dianetics, Dianetics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy, just like it sounds.
Or maybe it's not that way.
Yeah, or not.
Or maybe we should ask Carolyn to make some of her home wine brew stuff, and we could talk about Dionysus.
Dionysus, there we go.
That's where the name Dennis comes from, the god of wine.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny since I don't drink.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So.
I can respect that.
Well played. Well played.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about where respect is today in society. Is this something that has it changed since 20 years ago? Is there more respect? Is there less respect? Is there more respect in some ways and less respect in other ways? Who wants to grab that one first?
I'll tackle it first. I would argue, I think it's like a lot of things. People say, well, there's more violence now, there's more crime, etc. But I think the advent of social media and the fact that every moment of everything can be shared instantly means that we're just more aware of things. And so generations are always saying that younger generations have no respect, for example. And a lot of times because they're snubbing their nose at tradition and at what standards have been set, that doesn't mean they don't have respect. It just means that they're trying to forge their own path. I see a lot of people, both older and younger, and I see plenty that still have just as much respect. That still, they respect humanity, they respect themselves, and actually sometimes a lot of these people who are snubbing the nose of tradition have more self-respect than the people who are complaining about it, because people who are complaining about it are clinging to older traditions just as a way to try to still say that they have meaning in their life.
Yeah, it's just like a grab for power.
Yeah. So that's my take on it.
I think in the digital age, it's just it's one of those things, like you said, Adam. We're so much more aware of different perspectives, of different viewpoints, other people having different values that are important to them. But I think that in the context, I still see plenty of people being respectful, and on the flip side, you also see the other side of that, where maybe that has not ever been a value for them or a priority in their lives, and so they're not, it's just not something that has meaning. That whole concept of respect doesn't really have meaning for them. So, and there is probably a lot of the self-respect factor in that as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I just realized something about myself. See, you're not the only narcissist in here.
Well, damn it, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. And I was talking about someone else. I'm pretty sweet myself.
Wait, are you talking about me?
Are you calling Dennis one?
You're dying sweet.
No, I was talking about myself because I was like, oh, I'm learning about this about myself. But so I'll just go on with it. I think that it's so ironic that I'm in here, that Dennis, that we don't have other co-hosts doing this, and that we're winding up doing respect, because that was like the word that I hated so much growing up, because I never understood it. Because, I mean, from when I was like tiny, my mom would say, all I ever ask for is respect. And then she'd go off and cry, and, and I would just be left there like, I want to do whatever to make you happy, and I would do it if I knew how to make it actionable. I was thinking actionable back then.
Wow, look at you. It wasn't even, I don't even think that was a word back then. Well, there's that saying, respect your elders, which is just, it's touted as this, respect your elders, and it becomes this command. And so you get it beat in your head that even if there's someone who's an elder, but they're just an asshole, you still have to respect them. And I think that, and so it does have a negative connotation sometimes. And as you get older, you see that maybe you choose who who gets that extra modicum of respect.
Same thing with like, never hit a girl. Like, some girls are like, I have girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. And sometimes I just want to be like, Travis, hit her back. Like when Courtney pummels on it.
Well,
makes me so mad.
I think between siblings, maybe it's a little different, but I kind of feel like never hit a girl, maybe just never hit anybody is probably the best, the best.
Yeah,
that's a good phrase to have no matter what.
Yeah. It's hard for me. That's another topic too, like respect for people's personal boundaries. Like how close is too close.
Yeah, and that's I think each person's individual taste,
Like, how are you, Adam? We'll talk about you first.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about not physical but just general boundaries, like I don't have boundaries. Like that's actually sometimes can be a problem with friends and stuff like that. Especially like sometimes I have friends who are like female married friends and everything. It can be a problem because I don't have boundaries. I have no real. Like I have my own sense of a moral code, and I don't really, I don't really care about boundaries. So
like if someone just comes and sits on your lap or something, you're fine.
Yeah, like I was saying, the physical boundaries, I'm okay with it in the sense if they're trying to do it to try to make me react, I'm not going to react. And someone can be really close, but when I was married, it was funny. My wife, when I would put her to bed because she always went to bed like 8:30, and I would stay till like midnight. And I would go to kiss her goodnight when she was getting into bed, and she would actually grab my head and like pull me in to kiss, and that actually was too much. It was too, the physical boundary was needed to be kind of like I needed to kind of push off, not because of anything with her, just because that was too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not even good for the neck. I totally get that one.
How did we get on this topic exactly this evening?
I don't know.
You got to respect the kiss. I think that's the bottom line.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, now I've got like the Bye Bye Birdie song in my head. Give me one last kiss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Danielle, you know you want to sing it.
I'm gonna pass on that one today. But going back to what you were saying, I think also, you know, my boundary really is I want to be treated the way I treat other people. So, and I try, you know, I do my best to lead that example. So, you know, I treat people how I want to be treated. And that's a huge thing around the respect issue, and what it means. So when I find that people don't reciprocate that, you know, that's a boundary issue for me, and they have to go, because that violates, you know, my sense of worth and value, and so, you know, that's sort of the boundary that I have.
That's awesome. I tend to sway like towards the other side, where I don't have a lot of boundaries that I have set up. Like I have a couple of books on boundaries, and I've learned that I can, but it doesn't come naturally to me. And so I wind up being, you know, just perfectly fine in a shitty situation because, like, that's just the situation that I'm in. And I see everything like, you know, it takes a lot for something to ruffle my feathers. My kids, like, if I raise my voice, if I talk to them like this, then that's yelling, "Mom, don't yell at me," because they're not used to it.
Right.
So we got a definition or a comment from Roland here. I love this one. Respect in the old days was more defined and related to. Today, it's more diverse and sometimes controversial. And I really think that's true. You know, we're more open about what it may or may not be, and that could appear to be less respectful today.
Yeah, because I mean, it was respect your elders, respect authority, respect the rules, respect this, and it wasn't. But it was used as a obey, not respect. I think is what it was. That's why it was more easily defined, because it was they were similar, and now it's turned into actual respect.
And and in this digital age, we are more exposed to different cultures who have different ideas around that as well, and that's a really big, you know, topic to tackle too, because, again, being respectful of different cultures and how they define respect and what it looks like to them is also, you know, a really big issue in today's digital age.
Sometimes I find that forgetfulness has its part to play here too, because to interact with different cultures successfully, we really have to be keeping in mind, you know, what respect means, where they come from, and always trying to, like, think about how someone might take something, and trying to keep communications simplistic, like not simple, but simplistic enough that they're understandable by a wide audience. I think that in itself is a form of respect.
Being clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a great, I think someone that's in the audience, I can't remember who it was, but someone shared this, like, grammar wheel. No, not grammar wheel. Vocabulary wheel. And it was interesting because when I looked at it, like, all of a sudden, like, it just popped out at me that the 6 emotions that were in the center are the universal emotions that were discovered, gosh, 72. The doctor's name, like, escapes me, but it was in 1972 when he published his work. And it was like went like all over the world, and they have empirical data that proves that people universally respond and can pick from like pictures, like even like tribes that are completely, you know, like deep in Africa, nowhere near our, you know, our world, over here in the Western world, they can still point out like the different emotions, the 6 emotions. So I've been trying to think about that a lot too in my communications over the past week.
Like the 6, like what are these, like happy, sad,
happiness,
angry, horny.
How do you show horny on your face?
I can't.
Oh, we got a new guest.
We'll keep
we got a new guest here.
Kid friendly.
Guys, Leslie Wilson has joined us. Leslie Wagstaff Wilson from Web Ready Blueprint System. So you jumped in here, Leslie. What is your first thing you want to say about respectfulness? Just jump right into the conversation and get your feet wet.
Well, sorry to be such an idiot tech-wise. It takes me so long to figure this out. Listening to some of your comments, what was going through my mind is that I think as you respect yourself, that you tend to respect others and see other things more. Because it seems like when you're in a space of having some sort of underlying anger or things like that going on, that spills out into every part of your life, right? So to me, if you respect yourself, if you're in that place of acceptance, you know, we're not perfect, the world's not perfect.
Kind of balance, right?
Pardon me?
Kind of like balance.
Exactly. Although I love the thought of balance is not that you're like steady.
It's not static.
Balance is always a little bit of this.
I always like to use the word equilibrium instead of balance because I think that seems to be more accurate than trying to balance things. It's more really about finding, you know, your equilibrium, like when you get on a boat or something. And
homeostasis.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think as you find that place, which really boils down to acceptance, that you don't have that underlying frustration or maybe that little bit of anger or whatever it might be that spills out and represents itself as disrespect or not respecting somebody else. Even if you don't say anything and act on it, you've got that little bit of frustration or whatever it might be underlying, then you tend not to maybe be as respectful. So, I don't know, that's what's going through my mind.
I think that actually applies in a lot of ways. It took me a while after my divorce to learn that you have to, like, it's the same with, like, you have to be selfish. You have to give to yourself before you can be giving to others. Because if you think, well, I'm a giving person, I give everything, but you don't take care of yourself, then you're not the best person you can be, which means you can't take care of people as well as you can. So you always have to take care of yourself first. The same is for respect. If you can respect yourself well enough, then you'll be a better person to be able to respect others properly.
Absolutely. If your cup's not full, you don't have anything to share.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lend one hand.
Yep. Or that saying, if you aren't on higher ground, you can't lift anybody up. So you've got to keep yourself in a good space if you want to help others.
That's very, very true.
I think about like my own kids. I did not take care of myself, and you know there were extenuating circumstances and everything, but still.
Moms
perhaps
don't.
It can be a you know example for others. Like I got to the point where I was taking a shower like I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how often. But the kids were always washed. They were always clean. I always made time to take care of their needs. When Courtney had something at the school, it would take me literally the whole evening the night before to be able to brush my hair out, just to be able to like get it, you know, tangles out, just to be able to like look kind of presentable to go to her school auditorium thing.
Right.
I think moms, you know, or we women when we're moms, we're the worst at that.
Yeah.
We always put everybody else first.
It's easy to
Yep.
do.
Yeah.
And some women are
Yeah.
like, they won't stand for it. It's even some men, there's a lot more house dads or stay-at-home dads now too. So I think we really can't just say moms anymore these days.
That's
Have
true.
respect. Wink, wink. But anyways, yeah, like anyone who is going to bear the majority of the burden of the home.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that doesn't need to go out into the public, we really have to remember those people and make sure that we are doing our part to respect them enough to even have the intervention and say, hey, I think that it's time for you. It's you time, okay? So go take a break.
Right.
I think that's
I
kind.
agree. Yeah.
Well, and don't you think that that part of being respectful is being a good listener?
Oh, definitely.
I don't know, that's just what kind of came to mind when you were saying that. It's like, if you're always thinking about you, then you're always thinking about the next thing you're going to say. So I think we can be more respectful of people if we're more focused on being present and being with them and listening than if we're always thinking about what we're going to say next.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Because you never know where the conversation is supposed to go. I don't know, sometimes I fight like the whole supposed to, because I know we have free agency, or I believe, my belief is that we have free agency. However, I do feel that there is a sense of energy that once it's in motion, it could lead somewhere unless you take measures to stop it and thinking about that next thing that you want to say rather than letting it evolve organically. That's a measure to stop it. So let's not stop it, let's just see where it goes.
Well, that's true, although sometimes, someone can dominate a conversation, so you're thinking about what you want to say. But I actually have a friend who does that. He will know that someone's not listening, and in the middle of it will just say something completely off kilter just to see if they actually paid attention. So, yeah. So you just make a list of things. Oh yeah, I went to the mall today, and I bought some shoes, and I killed a cat. Then I came home and got some dinner. And just to see if they actually listened to what he said. And it's always fantastic to watch when you notice that they didn't even acknowledge that he said something like that.
Wow, that'd be sad. Does he ever go like, "Ha, you weren't listening"?
Oh yeah, no, he'll call him out on it whenever it happens. Absolutely.
I bet that's kind of a gift, because I remember the first time that I was a kid and I did that, and then someone was like, "You weren't even listening to me, were you?" And I was like, "I wasn't." And I was more mindful of it the next time I was in a conversation.
Yeah, no, it's good. It teaches you to listen a little better.
Yeah.
But that brings up a really interesting point in today's society too, which is probably, Dennis, a whole other topic, that you could go off on. But that whole idea of we're such a society of being attached to our digital devices, and just being able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody and be listening to them without oh wait, hey, hold on here, let me check my phone,
Oh, yeah.
and doing all that, so that, I think in some respects, that type of respect doesn't ever change. That's, to me, that's an element, that's a basic respectful thing, that you give somebody your attention when you're speaking with them, or when you're engaged with them, and they get the singular focus.
You can't even tell, but Dennis isn't even listening. He's actually watching porn right now.
Right.
So,
yeah, he's probably looking down.
That is what I'm doing. Actually, I've been thinking as this whole conversation has been going on.
I say that too when I'm just kidding.
You call it thinking?
When I'm producing an HOA, it's the hardest time for me to listen.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. There's so much going on. I have to manage the comment stream. I have to manage the tech. I have to make sure everything keeps working. I have to make certain that all my guests are looking and sounding as good as possible and letting them know if something's off kilter, and still stay in tune enough to the conversation. And often I will realize I've just missed 5 minutes
Right.
and have no clue how we got to the point we're at. And it's frustrating to me. I wish there was some way I could pay more attention and still do everything.
Well, that's why a lot of talk shows have engineers that run the board and do all that for that purpose, so that the host can actually be a host and participate in the conversation, which is hard to do in an HOA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, that's really hard because you want to. I mean, again, you want to have these people on and enjoy the conversation and be part of the conversation, but at the same time, you've got another audience out there that you have to take care of, and you have to make sure that they're getting what they need out of it as well. And yeah, it's a really difficult thing to try to put all those pieces together and still be engaged in the moment, and be part of the conversation. So I have mad respect for that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And it's interesting. I've tried something different this season, which is to have guest co-hosts. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, I open the show and I close the show, and I pretty much just run tech throughout the show and bring up comments and those kinds of things. So I'm not usually as engaged as I have been today. But quite honestly, it's so much more fun when I am engaged. Right. So it's just it's a challenge. I don't know the solution to it. I don't know.
I just love this whole thought about the fact that we have to bring our awareness back sometimes, because we know that science says that our brains can multitask and do a whole lot of different things, right? So just the thought to me of bringing back that awareness and that presence to what we're doing, because I find myself doing that all the time. You're having a conversation, but my mind's over here going crazy on something else, as well. And we can get away with that, on a lot of levels. But boy, we can sure enjoy what we're doing more if we're truly present and aware that if we go off that other direction.
It can screw you up too. I mean, when I've done sales calls and tried to text or something while I'm doing a sales call for my business, and ended up screwing up just because I'm getting distracted by one or the other. Or, of course, there was a time that I was having phone sex with a girl and texting my mom at the same time, and that got screwed up. Really terrible. That was an awful situation. So yeah, no, I think being aware can really be healthier.
Is it bad that I actually
that sounds disrespectful to everyone involved?
That's what I was thinking.
I know.
Like when I was married, that was the most fun thing to do. Hey, let's call up, your mom, and
that sounds. It might have been just you, Kristin. That might have been just you. I don't know.
A little off track.
Yeah, I'm a little.
What I do is
the guys were never.
I like to bring things firmly into the gutter. That's what I like to do.
That's our guy thing.
To bring them right into the
You
gutter.
don't have to do it alone, Adam. I'm trying to tell you this.
All right, stop right there. Wait.
I'm sorry, Kristin. That sounded like an offer.
Yeah, that's.
Really?
No,
You're gonna get me in trouble here.
You bring us back to respect here.
I respect you, Adam. However, that was not an offer.
Yeah. And I'll respect you in the morning.
That's right. Yes.
I love Adam's little. I don't even know the lingo because I'm not an HOA person, but that he's a bacon lover.
The
we
lower
understand.
third.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Are you talking about Adam's lower third?
Yes, that's the term.
Daniel, you're gonna help us get to that gutter, aren't you?
See, well, hey, you went there first. You started the whole conversation started going downhill, and I jumped on the bandwagon.
I was just talking about it.
Boy, this is so disrespectful.
Is this disrespectful to our audience? Please comment.
They're enjoying it. As long as the people are having fun, then I think that.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so speaking of being respectful for our audience, believe it or not, and I literally cannot believe this, it's time to start closing the show down.
What?
All right.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm like, it's been an hour?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to go through the same format we do every week for closing down the show. We're going to go through first closing thoughts, and the order for closing thoughts will be Adam, Danielle, Kristin, and Leslie, and then me. And then after that, we will do shameless self-promotion, where everybody gets to tell us something that they're doing that they want everyone to know about. And we'll do it in the same order. Adam, then Danielle, Kristin, Leslie, and me. So, Adam, closing thoughts first.
Closing thoughts actually is a little bit of, because I'm a narcissist, I'm going to mention. I lecture, and when I lecture about gaining respect, or like gaining respectability through transparency, and how to when you blog and you write, to be completely honest, and you will get respect to people just by bearing your soul. And I think that a lot of that just boils down to people seeing that you're human will get you more respect than people who think that you're some institution, or people who think that you have no faults. So it's okay to embrace your faults and be okay with your faults, because you actually can get a higher degree of respect from people as a result of that.
Awesome. I guess I'm up. So yeah, mine. Now I don't know what to say after that, Adam. Gee, that was pretty well said. I think the bottom line is respect who you are, what your intrinsic worth that you have in the world, and once you start to do that, that opens the door for being able to have people respect you and honor who you are and own that. And I don't think you'll have any issues with respect at all after that. So it starts with you.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, when we're young, we live quite a bit off of borrowed light. But as we get to that age of accountability and we start learning and growing, then core out. Start with yourself. And I think Adam said this too, like, we're probably all going to touch on it, but just have respect, start here, and it'll radiate. You will see your countenance. Have respect for that.
Boy, I don't think anything else even needs to be said. I completely agree. I think that, as we talked about earlier too, that it does start with ourselves, and that if we from that point on are totally present with people, that's giving them the greatest respect we can as well. Because when it comes down to it, I think what all of us really want is we want to feel valued. And so if we can show other people that respect as well by being completely present and letting them know that they're valued, that's the best gift we can give.
I love that. I'm jumping in, but I love that. I think that they can be synonymous, value and respect.
I agree.
So I have a tradition of picking a comment and sharing it as my closing thoughts. Katrina, you win this week. Hey folks, the guidelines of respect in business are first and foremost about presence. I love what Kristin is saying, that we need to be really present in order to honor the person and the value of what they're sharing together. And it cut off the rest of it. But
Katrina, you just said it so much better.
Yeah. But I think there's a consensus here that what we're saying is that respect is about presence. And I think that's the theme of this week's show. All right, it is now time for shameless self-promotion. Adam, you're up first.
Well, as far as like appearances or anything I'm doing recently, all my show appearances are on Avitable.com. The one thing I would suggest people check out, is, especially if it deals with the topic, is my book, Interviews with Dead Celebrities. It's available on Amazon and Kindle and in print, and it is actually me showing a complete lack of respect for the celebrity as a whole and how they don't necessarily deserve our worship and respect. And it's very R-rated book, very, a lot of profanity and stuff, but it should be pretty funny. Most people seem to enjoy it, so I'd say check that out. Interviews with Dead Celebrities.
I love that title.
How can you not do a double take at it, right?
That's very clever.
Watch that one click setting.
Okay, Danielle.
So yeah, I'm gonna again just piggyback right off of Adam there. I also have a book that you might find interesting. Actually, it just came out this month. It's called Smarty Pants Branding, and it really is all about the underneath of your brand, which is all about core values and understanding who you are and how you show up, and the visibility and vulnerability factors involved in that. So it's on Amazon. It's available as a Kindle download right now, and you can find that at daniellemiller.com.
Very cool. Does it touch on the archetypes?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole section in there about archetypes, and yeah, you can take the quiz and all that stuff. Yeah.
It's not a Danielle conversation without archetypes.
Yeah, I know. I reined myself in today.
I hope you guys are going to put your books in the comments so that we go
Great
find
idea.
them. That'd be
And
great.
if you have an affiliate link, you can do that. But if you don't, I've got that whole affiliate thing I haven't done anything with yet. Maybe I could do some promotion. Speaking of promotion, lend one hand, one hand up, one hand down, bring everyone else with you. And we're going to be writing, I think I said this last week, but I was hoping, I don't know, did Greg or Carolyn stop in?
Carolyn did.
Yoo-hoo! Yeah, girl, we need to get to talking with you. Aaron wants to meet you, and we want to talk about what happened last week with your event. Okay.
Cool. Leslie.
So I love this format. It's so great. The thing that I would promote, you know Dennis better than you know me, and he's going to be a presenter at my next event for Web Ready Blueprint System. So if you go to that, I hope I'm having a good morning this morning. About me not being present mind on 100 different things that I got going on. Anyway, if you go to my website, webreadyblueprintsystem.com, there's a free video training that talks about the different ways that you can create a more effective online presence. And then we have a live event that literally covers everything from A to Z on how to do that, because there's so many different moving parts, right, you guys? Like, you guys are all so good at this HOA stuff, and that's a whole new thing that I'm learning, and I love it because HOA allows you to connect with people. So that's what Dennis is going to be there teaching my audience about, and I'd like to invite any of you to do that, and anybody, speaking of affiliates, that wants to become affiliate, and then you can share this with anybody else, and do that with a couple people, and you can come for free yourself. But it'll be an awesome event. Nobody else is doing that I know of, where they're going to cover everything from starting with that, you know, what's your value proposition, all the way through to how to get your message out and monetize it. So would love to have any of you join that. It'd be so fun to meet all of you. So there you have it.
I want to respect your puppy dog, and is it a boy or a girl?
This is Diva. Does that give you a hint?
Boy?
Yeah, really, boy. Well, this is my daughter's little puppy that I got left with. You know how kids do that.
Oh, yeah, I did that myself.
Yes, her registered name was Darling Dynamite Diva.
Oh, so
Say hi.
All right. Well, I'm gonna back up what Leslie just said. This is going to be an amazing conference, 3 days, intensive. You're going to be hearing from a lot of different people, all of them experts in their area. I'm going to be speaking for about 4 hours combined on Google+, Google My Business, and how that integrates with your website to get you found, and then a whole section on Hangouts on Air. And, you know, if you've ever wanted to do an IRL with me, in real life meeting, this is a great opportunity. Fly into Utah. It's not that expensive to get here. It's one of the least expensive cities to get to in the country. So come on in here and hang out with us for 3 days, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity to get some core competencies and meet some really powerful people who know their stuff, each in their area of expertise regarding online marketing. So
we keep it pretty small so people can get to know each other, because part of what we're doing for me is about creating a community. So,
and when you say pretty small, like how small?
You know, probably 25 to 50 people. We want to keep it real small, because everybody, it's classroom style, so everybody will bring their computer and it'll be hands-on, and they'll actually, it's not just come and learn, it's come and do. And that's
awesome.
what I love about it, because, again, nobody's out there doing that as far as I know. We've all had experiences where we go to conferences and we learn all these amazing things, and then we go home and we don't know how to implement them. And this is all about implementing it and getting started while you're there and knowing exactly what to do when you go home to finish up. So it's going to be awesome.
all right, so that's it. The first half of this season is done. And anyone who's been following me for the last year and a half of HOA production knows I take a week off in the middle of my seasons, and then 2 weeks in the winter and 2 weeks in the summer. So we won't be back next week for Network Roundtable. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and I have not looked at the spreadsheet. Kristin, do you know what we're talking about in 2 weeks?
No.
No.
I think it's curiosity.
I don't know. It's going to be a cool core value that we're talking about.
And we're going to have cool people there.
And we are going to have cool people there. Of course, we got Who Are You on the Monday, a week from this Monday. And then we'll be back 2 weeks from today for the next Network Roundtable. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And look forward to seeing you all then.
Thanks a lot. It was a blast.
Thanks for the invitation.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching the Network Roundtable this week. I hope you were inspired to pump a little harder. Take the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us here on Google Plus as we continue to talk about core values. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week.